Hey there, I'm Rachel Cadden with VintageRock.com here at the NAMM 2012 show, and joining me is the legendary engineer, Mr. Ken Scott. Ken, it's so good to have you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me. It's
legendary. Yeah, I mean, you've worked with the Beatles.
I've worked with legendary artists, and
such as
the Beatles, Jeff Beck, Supertramp, David Bowie, Elton John, America, Mahavishnu Orchestra, Stanley Clarke, Billy Cobham. And
I love the way he spits it off the top of his head. But most prominent would probably have to be Abbey Road, working
at Abbey Road, yeah, that's where I started. That's where I got my training, which was the most amazing training you could possibly have, the best place. It was absolutely incredible. And it all happened within a week. I was fed up with school, wrote letters on the Friday night, heard back from Abbey Road on the Tuesday, had the interview on the Wednesday, and left school on the Friday and started the following Monday.
Life-changing overnight.
Oh, unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable.
And here you are just a few years later,
yeah,
with lots of experience under your belt. And here at NAMM, you're promoting a DVD that you've put together. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Epic Drums EDU. It's part of a much larger project. I got together with 5 drummers that I've worked with in the past. There was Billy Cobham from Mahavishnu Orchestra, Bob Siedenberg from Supertramp, Rod Morgenstein from Dixie Dregs, Terry Bozzio from Missing Persons, and Woody Woodmansey from Bowie's Spiders from Mars. And we recreated the sounds that we got back in the day for straightforward samples. Then we also had them play grooves as per the record, and also just jamming. So we had all of this recorded material. I spent ages editing, just cutting the grooves up into like 2 or 4 bar things that people can put together and use for their own ends. And then once I completed that, I suddenly thought there might be a way to give back to some of the younger engineers. These days, so many of the engineers have never even worked with live drums. It's all samples. And so I came up with the idea of putting together like 3.5 to 4 minutes of each of the drummers, that it's all multi-track, and young engineers can use this. They can practice mixing live drums, they can learn some of the problems like cymbals bleeding into tom mics and all of that kind of thing, and how to deal with it, so that one day when they have a real drum kit in front of them, they'll have at least a bit better idea of what they have to deal with. And I approached Alfred Music Publishing about that, and they said they love the idea, but let's take it a step further and have a DVD of you showing how you record drums. And that's what we've got. Now the DVD is me very specifically how I record drums. It's not, I use very expensive mics. Not many people can use the same gear as, but there's still principles that are the same. Where you place the mics, the kind of EQ you use. So there's all of that. There's there's interviews with the drummers, the 5 drummers. They give some tips, and hopefully young engineers, drummers even, because it really helps hearing the different drummers and how their toms are tuned and all of that kind of thing, and what a difference it is. Just even a young drummer, invaluable to be able to hear that kind of thing and learn from these incredible masters of percussion.
Absolutely. Now, where can young engineers, or even seasoned engineers who just want to fine-tune their craft, where can they purchase or find this DVD?
I believe from Alfred, Alfred.com, I think it is. You can get it there. I believe that it's also in like Guitar Center, Sweetwater, all of the usual places, I believe. That's what I've been told. I was also told by record companies that the record's in the stores often, and it's not, but so who knows?
So by the time this reaches you, just Google it, you'll find it, I'm sure. Yeah. In addition to that, you're also working on a book. Tell us a little bit about that.
It's my work history. It's the stories. I very much wanted to make it for the fans as opposed to make it a technical manual of how I work. So there is a little for of the technical side, technical aspect, but it's more stories of what it was like. Stories about the Beatles, stories about Bowie, stories about Elton. in general, and some of it is very funny. It's
a behind the scenes look.
To a point, yeah. I don't get down and dirty with it,
Right.
not very much. It's the whole. For me, I've had a blessed life working in this business, and it's been fun. There's very few occasions it wasn't fun, and too often the books you read, they're so down on it, the whole thing, and for me it was never like that. So I wanted to get my slant of what it's been like for my life across, and that was fun, and that's what it's all about.
And what is the book called, and when will it be available?
It's called Abbey Road to Ziggy Stardust, and it's available in May, I believe, yes.
And that I'm sure will be available through Amazon.com,
Amazon,
bookstore,
Barnes and
Noble.
Guitar Center, you name it.
It'll definitely be.
I'll even be on the street corner selling it, so just find that street corner and I'll be there.
Very good. Now, if you were to give a little nugget to those aspiring engineers or those fresh-blooded engineers out there about any core values or things that you value as an engineer and taking you and your craft where you have, what would you recommend to them?
Two things. One is learn to make decisions. And unfortunately, it seems to be almost a lifetime thing at the moment. I've gone into Blockbuster too many times, and it's, well, this one's about that. Can you help me make a decision as to what we should watch tonight? Get a goddamn bloody DVD. You can't. And it's like that in studio. Now we have digital with 199 odd tracks. People will use 199 tracks even when it's not needed.
Right.
And we used to work on 4 tracks. We'd record drums, bass, guitars, and piano all on one track. And we had to make decisions as to what it was going to be like in the end.
Yeah.
Get used to making decisions, and it will make life so much easier. The other thing for me is always, it begins in the studio. And that's the musician, the artist, and the instrument. It's if you get a great drum sound in the studio, then it makes life so much easier in the control room. If you get a great guitar sound in the studio, it makes it so much easier in the control room. You don't need 100,000 plugins if the sound is right in the studio.
Very good. Well, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure to me. Thank you for your craft and all that you do, for keeping it fresh and for writing about it. I'm Rachel Cadden with VintageRock.com here with Ken Scott, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Bye.